Alright, I had places to go and things to do today, so I didn't get really work on this too much. But I'm sitting here trying to straighten the frame rail out again because if you remember, I couldn't hammer down on that part to straighten it. And what I've got is I'm measuring this top rail against this beam it's sitting on. And the top rail is only a 1/4 inch off from one end to the other. If I hold that end dead flat against it until it bends, somewhere right in there, then the top rail down here at this end only sticks off the edge of this 1/4 inch. The bottom rail, on the other hand, because I can put the rails right up flat against it, from that end to this end, the gap is almost 3/4 of an inch now. So, however they bent this frame, and both of them are almost perfectly straight now. I guess going in the flat, they're almost perfectly straight this way, but they're both curved like that in an arch. So either when they bent this frame, they bent something in there that I can't repeat to unbend it, or the frame was bent when they welded it, all the side rails on it. And I can't figure out which one it is, because if I try to take that bottom rail and cut that off, man, that's a lot of damn work. Because the top rail is almost perfectly straight. The bottom rail is not. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more things I got to cut off of this. And it's frustrating me because the more welds you put on it, the easier it is to bend, because you have more heat affected zones. But as it stands right now, God, I don't want to do it either. You saw how easy it was for me to straighten it before. I think if I go in there and just nibble off every single one of these from the top rail up, and see, on this one here, I can't even get in there to cut it. And this one is just a weld glob of shit there. That's the only way to straighten it. And I asked the owner, my father, if he wanted me to just cut off the bottom rail and put that stuff in. And he didn't want to do that. He didn't want to do that. So, I don't know what to do. I think I'd be better off just cutting the whole damn thing off and putting those on for rails. And then I can get that perfectly straight and weld it on the side of it. But the pockets for the side rails, the pockets for the springs, leaf springs, which go right here to right there, the pockets for the leaf springs, well actually that's the fender, but they go right there under the fender. Because I have 1.5-inch tubing, this is 2-inch, the effective zone, and it's 58.5 inches axle perch to axle perch. 1.5 on a 60.5 inches wide is what the frame was made, and it's 58.5 axle perch or spring perch to spring perch on that axle tube, center to center. And so I'm gonna have to measure some things, but I don't think I'm gonna. I think I need to add a piece of steel on for both the front leaf spring and the rear leaf spring, just to hold the thing. And I don't have any more 3/16, so maybe I could cut a piece of the box tubing to go underneath of it to fit in there. But then it would be 3 inches wide instead of 2 inches wide, and that would become very obvious that it was in there. I don't know. I have to think about it. That piece of 3/16 steel right there, angle iron, 3 inches on one leg and 2 inches on the other, right there. And I could cut a little 6-inch piece of that on each side and stick that on here. And that 3/16 is the same thickness as the box tubing, 3/16. And I think I'd be better off to put that. But he said he didn't want the extra weight of putting that tubing in for the frame of the trailer. But what I'm removing, the 2x2 angle iron that's 1/8 inch. Each piece of it probably weighs 8 foot. All right, here you go. These are 60.5. Let me pick up 2 of them, see what we got going on here. All right, 1, 2. All right, so that is technically 2 foot longer, and I'm going to say it weighs 23, 25 pounds. And that piece of tubing right there, I'm going to pick up. Oh, better yet, why don't we just pick up this? I know this piece of tubing is just longer than the trailer, or just shorter. And I'm going to call this, oh dude, I'm going to call that 30. I'm going to call that 30. So it's 7 pounds more on each side to have 3x3 box tubing versus 2x2 angle iron, or 3x1.5 inches, 3/16. So what do I want to do? I don't know. I could get the scale, but the last time I brought the scale outside and tried to weigh something like that, I broke the scale. So kind of don't want to break somebody else's scale again. I don't understand women. They don't want to know how much they weigh. They don't want to tell you how much they weigh, but all of them have a bathroom scale. What is it about that? So anyway, looking down this rail here, she looks good and straight. I don't know what the hell happened. I had that thing perfectly flat the other day, and now it is not. I look down it right here, and I can see a kink in it, bigger than shit, right in the center of that one. If you look down it, if I zoom in, there's a kink right there, center of the screen, right there in that shiny spot. There's a kink on this thing, and that's where they folded this trailer. It was a cross brace going from one side to the other, and the kink was on one side of the cross member on one side of the trailer, and it was on the other side of the cross member on the other side of the trailer. It's 2 inches wide, so, and that's where it folded, rolled, and I can't get that out. How would I get that out? I would need to support it here and here, and then press it down that way, and I don't have a press. I had that bottle jack. That's what I was just trying to do before I started making this video. I had that bottle jack right there. And the real crappy thing is that one folds in to the inside, and this top rail folds to the outside. So I can't push the top rail against the bottom rail in any way. Maybe I could. Maybe I can chain the top rail together. Maybe I can chain the top rail together and push on the top rail just in the center right there, and see if that'll, let me zoom back out. But what that does, it means I'm fighting the weld here, not so much a weld here, but I'm fighting the cross welds. And I'm wondering how I folded that without, you know, how I got that arch in it without bending all the cross members up and down. And that's what keeps just blowing my mind. So I'm sitting there looking at it. Now I understand my dad doesn't want to do the cross member from, he doesn't want to replace all the cross members with this bottom tubing. But what if I removed that bottom rail? Because it's gotten to the point it's just pissing me off. I can't tell you anything else about it. It's just making me mad that it will not do what I want it to do, to go in there straight and put in that piece of metal right there. Because I got 2 of them. I mean, I can go get more. The guy said he scrapped it, and he scrapped 30, 40 of these things, and I gave him like 50 bucks. And yeah, if you go to the store and buy them, it's 150, 200 bucks. He doesn't care about that, but he had those. He wanted to get rid of them, so he sold them like $15, $20 a piece. I think it averaged about 15, so that made me happy. I don't know what to do here. And of course, I'll have made that decision long before y'all ever see that. See my finger coming in the top. Ooh. But anyway, we had a guy come out and pressure wash my house today. And we had already scheduled him before the air conditioner died. And glory be, that man did in 3.5 hours what would take me 5 days of struggling with my pressure washing equipment. And oddly enough, He did it in, 3.5 hours. He didn't even need a ladder to wash the stuff on the second floor, and it is cleaner than I have ever gotten it. Now, the funny thing is that looking now, I see a stain up above my window, which he didn't quite manage to get, but I know what that is. It's bees that made a nest up there a couple of years ago. And can you see that little stain right between the two windows? There was a bee's nest up there 2 years ago, and I couldn't figure out where the hell it was. Apparently it's gotten wet and rotted a little bit and then ran away after he walked away. Water ran down out of the side. But he managed to get the gutters clean up there and never stepped foot on the roof, which is, I mean, God, I've been fighting to get that stuff. And I used bleach, and I used siding wash from Lowe's and crud cutter from Lowe's. And I know my pickup tube isn't the greatest of shapes, but yeah, that made me so angry that I'm impressed, though. It really does look nice what this man has done to my house. So anyhow, yeah, so I told you I was going to tell a story about my air conditioner. We called a guy, I had him come do this, and then the week before Labor Day, the Friday before Labor Day weekend, was it the Friday before? Not the Friday, like 3 days before Labor Day, but 10 days earlier. My air conditioner died and wouldn't work. It was very hot and humid, like 85 and 100% humidity, and the fan motor had died. I needed the fan motor. We had scheduled that man to come wash my house 4 days prior to that. And so we figured, whatever, get that done. And so we sit there and I had service tech come out to look at it because I wanted to make absolutely certain it was the fan motor. Couldn't find the model number of the fan motor. Now, it's a two-stage blower. That means there's an electronic control on them built in on the motor, fan motor by itself. So I couldn't find the model number on it. And I pulled the fan out of the unit in the attic because I knew it wasn't the capacitor. I checked all the capacitors outside. The outdoor unit was running fine. And I checked the capacitors, and all those were at the right voltage or ohms for the capacitance. And so I knew it was probably the fan motor. See, the outdoor unit would come on and it would run until it froze up the coils inside the house, in which case the outdoor unit automatically shuts down when it senses that the unit's frozen up, so the unit can thaw out. Well, with no fan blowing air across it, all that cold air goes in those pipes, and it just makes it really cold, and it freezes very quickly because it's a radiator inside of inside your unit, in the indoor unit. So anyhow, I called him out, $105 for the service call, and he called me back at 4:40 that afternoon and told me, yeah, we've got a motor. There's only one in town. It'll be $1,680 some plus tax for us to install it. And I said, there's no way in hell that is going to happen. I know it's just the fan motor. So I got online and I found, since it's a 16-year-old furnace, I found a rebuilt fan motor. It didn't say rebuilt on it until I checked out. It said it was rebuilt. So anyway, I bought a rebuilt motor for the ungodly sum of $450 on a motor that if I bought it new, without a core charge, if I bought that motor new, back when that unit was installed, it would have been $90. And it was $440, $50, something like that. So anyhow, I ordered the fan that afternoon. Literally, I hung up the phone. I said, I know how to find it. I went up in the unit, attic. I took apart the fan, and I said, since they're changing the fan motor out of here, I'm going to take it out and get it ready for them to come change. And it was before he had even called me back. I found the model number. It was right after he called me back. I got determined because it was 100 degrees, and that's a very tiny attic. If those of you don't know, that very tiny attic by 5 o'clock in the afternoon is very hot. But anyhow, here nor there. I went up in the heat with my little portable fan that has made work out here so survivable in the heat of summer. I went up there and I pulled the unit, pulled the disconnect, the power on the unit. I pulled the plug out of the disconnect and disconnected the wiring harnesses to the fan motor, pulled the whole blower cage assembly out. And the hard part of a fan is getting the blower cage is normally locked on the shaft. And so that's the struggle. And I was trying to save anyone that struggle. But I was determined to find the model number on that fan so I could find it and see if I could find a better price. So I go taking that fan. I got the wheel to come right off. The blower came right off. and the actual fan that goes on the motor. And there's a harness of 3 points, and that connect. It's a suspension rig that holds the motor in place in the center of the fan, the hub of the because it sits in the input, right? And it's a squirrel cage. I've showed y'all the big blue motor. Let's go walk inside. I know a motor I can show you, right? So I sit there and I was trying to find the model number, and let me hold my hand up for y'all so you can see what I'm doing. Well, at least give you some action. Time for some action. And there's the van motor right there. I'll show you one. Now that one right there, turn on some lights. This is a fan motor from a furnace. Okay, and see, there is 1, 2, 3 straps going down, and this is the actual motor itself. This is a suspension harness. This is the actual fan impeller, and the motor is sitting in there. And I don't think y'all can see it, but there's a band strap. Hold on, let me see if I can roll her over. On most of these motors now, this is an old motor. This actually has a strap goes down and bolts into the other underside of the fan motor, the electric motor. This is the motor. So the new ones have these 3 arms. They come down and there's a band that goes around the motor right here. And that band is clamped down on the motor really tight. And then you have the suspension here with some rubber bushings that keeps the noise down. Okay. So now that y'all have an idea what's going on, so I took that apart, and wouldn't you know it, as soon as I undid the bolt and I slid the band down, the strap that goes around the motor is about 1.5 inches wide. And that 1.5 inch wide strap was covering the model number of that motor that was inside of my fan. And that's how I found it. So I took it apart. I didn't have no time to film anything because it was 100 and some degrees and I didn't know if it was going to work. And I didn't think about it. So I ordered the motor right then. 2-day shipping from UPS. Wednesday evening at 4:56, something like that, 5 o'clock. Let's just call it 5 o'clock. Well, turns out that the place I ordered it from closes at 4:30, like most places in the construction industry. Supply houses, 4:30, they're closing down because most people don't come in after that. They're going home. Well, anyhow, I called them up and I ordered online, and it said no court charge underneath of it, whatever. And 2-day shipping. It said it would arrive Friday, right? 2-day shipping, 2-day express shipping. I paid $40 extra for 2-day shipping versus their normal shipping or something like that. The normal shipping was $19 and it was $45 for the other. So now it's $490 for my fan motor, or $484 or something. Anyway, so, which is a nice motor. Wait, was that a motor? Yeah, maybe it was. I don't know. Anyway, Labor Day weekend was that weekend, right? Oh, okay. Yeah, my motor went out the week before, but I didn't have time until Tuesday or Wednesday to order, have a guy come out and look at it. And, yeah, then I ordered the thing on Monday. Anyway, I watched UPS bring it all the way to Kentucky Friday afternoon. It went no further than Kentucky Friday afternoon. So it wasn't going to get delivered on Saturday. And it was Labor Day weekend. They had a 3-day weekend. I got my motor Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon at 4 o'clock, 4:50 in the afternoon. And I went up in the attic and it ran perfectly fine. I turned on my air conditioner. I ran my air conditioner for 2 days because Bonza, it ran. It worked perfect. So I don't know if I have 2-stage. 2-stage blower is only on the heat side of the system. It's supposed to be on both sides of the system, but whatever. I'm not going to argue with that. Whatever. So I got the air conditioner fixed on Tuesday evening at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the evening, and I ran it until Wednesday. Wednesday, I went downstairs and went to have breakfast, and I was like, my milk. Hey, don't look at my license plate. My milk tastes warm. you ever done that? You know, I was having a bowl of cereal and I said my milk tastes warm. Well, yeah, that was what I said. And when I got up Thursday morning, I went to have breakfast. No, when I got up Tuesday morning, I said my milk tasted warm. When I got up Wednesday morning, I said my milk tastes warm and it tastes like it's gone bad. And I literally spit out what I was eating because it was sour milk. And yeah, so I basically had my refrigerator die within 12 hours. Actually, before I even got the repair motor on my air conditioner, my refrigerator died. So now we've been through an ordeal. Now, we knew their refrigerator was getting ready to die. And Yeah, if it ain't one thing, it's another. That's all there is to it. So we've been shopping for refrigerators now for 2 weeks, and I can't explain the thought process of another person, but they really did not like any of the colors I offered, and I took them back and forth on different colors, and they picked one, and they had to have that one, and finally the sales guy let us bring home a drawer that matched of that color. It was the a door off of a range, like the bottom drawer, and it's a big piece of metal with that color paint on it, and it didn't look right. So now here we are, 15 days later. I just returned that drawer this morning, but they still don't want to pick a refrigerator based on the other colors we found, and it's frustrating me. This is, I don't know, I can't remember what the name of this is. We used to have oleander in this pot, and I can't remember if that's oleander or not. But yeah, so anyway, hopefully one day soon here, I'll have a new refrigerator. And maybe if I can eat like a normal person again, I'll start being able to think like a normal person again. But right now, I'm going inside. I'm frustrated with that thing over there. Because after I walked away from it nice and straight the other day, it is now even more bent. And I waited until it was absolutely cooled off from welding and grinding to unclamp it. And it seemed to, oh, but then I beat on it. And I guess beating on it, taking the curves out one way, it imparted curves in another direction. And I don't know, man. I don't know. I think I'm just going to replace the rails on the bottom of it is what I'm going to be doing and say to hell with it. Because they said anyway, don't weld across the bottom. And they welded across the bottom. And yeah, then I could put my spring perches on at the bottom and just use that piece of angle iron right there, which was free. A gimme from the guy I bought all the rail from. I think I should have done that from the start instead of messing with it. I done spent 3 days messing with it. And yeah, I'm going to go inside and have myself a nice glass of sweet tea. And I'm going to make myself some dinner while I think about what to do with this. I thank y'all for joining me for my thoughts and ramblings about nothing in particular while I looked at what to work on with my trailer. Y'all have a good one.